Good day to you all. Welcome to the second video on ecotourism. I'm Omar Aminu Mohammed from Department of Biological Sciences, Bauchi State University, Kadao. Ecotourism, as we talked about in the previous video, is a combination of two words, ecological and tourism. Ecological is basically coined from the word ecology, which is the relationship between living organisms and their environment, while tourism is an act of holiday making. Now, ecotourism is basically going to their natural environment to see animals in their natural habitat or their aesthetic value. Now, we also talked about wildlife, which is made up of animals that are not tame or domesticated, especially mammals, birds, and fish. Now, a typical example of a wildlife is a particular species like the Equus, that's the horse, can be domesticated and undomesticated. The one that is undomesticated is the one that is living in the wild, while the one that is domesticated is basically the one that is living close to humans and has some certain level of relationship with humans. Ecotourism in Africa is today's topic. Africa has a unique climate that is favorable for its biodiversity. The African wildlife has long fascinated and attracted foreigners. And this particular climate, which means the average weather condition of a place observed over a long period of time. We basically, Africa's climate is the type that is a little bit hot because of the location of Africa close to the tropics, which makes Africa a tropical continent, thereby enabling a lot of species of Pawasi, the grasses, Gramineaceae, and of course a lot of species, families of trees that supports the wildlife we have. So this is the reason why the African wildlife has fascinated and attracted a lot of foreigners. This is why wildlife remains one of the most popular forms of tourism on the continent. A lot of people usually come in every year, months, and to come and spend months, some days, just to come and see these animals in their natural environment. So ecotourism is an important source of revenue for countries such as South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, Uganda, Namibia, Malawi, Botswana, and Zambia. These countries have unique private operators that conduct visitors through national parks or game reserves and provide lodging in luxury tent camps or lodges developed in most cases or close to but outside the boundaries of the park, which is called the core area. Now we have a system that usually allows licensed hunters, who they are usually called hunters, trophy hunters, who pay for trophies they take. Are also guided during outing, but in most cases, tourists only visit national parks to take photographs. So we have some Europeans. They usually come with the sole aim of killing a particular species of an animal, and just to take pictures with it and to derive pleasure from killing it. Of course, there is a debate about allowing this particular process to go on, but they pay huge sum of money, which is a major sum of income for a lot of these local communities and the countries in charge of these game reserves or national parks. But of course, a lot of tourists only visit national parks just to take photographs, which is safer to the environment. South Africa's public-run parks and private companies guarantee a sighting of the big five. That is the lion, elephant, rhinoceros, leopard, buffalo, to but due to keen attention to conservation and proper management. So this basically was called the Big Five, which are they are large animals that usually people drive more pleasure in watching them in their natural environment. Therefore, the revenue generated from tourism has made the survival of endangered species a high priority for the above mentioned countries. Of course, if you do the maths, if you have the animals and plus their natural environment that is not disturbed, people will come and pay money to view them. So it's a no-brainer. For example, in Kenya, a single lion is worth about 7,000 US dollars per year in tourist income, while an elephant herd is worth about 610,000 dollars annually. Which means a herd of an elephant is basically a group of elephants because elephants have this gregarious behavior. They move in group. Now, hunting this species in Kenya is legal when a tourist acquire a permit. So, probably because of their number, and the authorities usually permit trophy hunters to hunt a certain number of these animals. But of course, you need to acquire a permit before doing that. A participatory role is offered to the local communities in the planning process as well as a share of the profits from tourism is adopted by some countries in wildlife management program in order to get their support for conservation. Of course, if you don't include the locals, they will definitely uh, affect this whole process. And because they are the ones in the environment and it's their habitat, so they feel entitled to a share of the profit. For example, in Zimbabwe, the Communal Areas Management Program for Indigenous Resources, CAMPFIRE, as the acronym, provides the farming community in elephant hunting areas a portion of the trophy fees paid by the foreign trophy hunters. As part of sustainable approach to management, each area sets an annual limit on the number of animals that can be killed. Most especially elephants and lions are basically the ones, and the rhinoceros, basically the ones that attract a lot of interest from trophy hunters. Cheers. See you soon.